All right, Kyle. If Cale Makar didn't play another game this season, so you got the Norris locked up.
Yeah, give it to him.
Final. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Chris Maselli. With me, as always, Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. Thank you for making this your first listen of the day. That is always appreciated. Good Lord. I don't know what other words you can use to describe the undressing that Cale Makar just put down on the Chicago Blackhawks, and in particular, Kirby Dach.
Yeah.
Man, a goal for the highlight reel of all time for the Colorado Avalanche. You're going to see this thing whenever you see those game graphics that are run before the game and run during intermissions. This play is going to be on it. Absolutely incredible.
His second overtime winner? Didn't he win that Tampa Bay?
Yeah, I think he did. And I remember that game. I thought it had gone to Landeskog, and I was mistaken, but I think it was Makar.
I think it was either in overtime or in the shootout portion. But like, I guess he's now we talk about Cale ascending to this new role, Captain Clutch in overtime.
Good man. Well, we're going to get to all of it. A very fun and entertaining game between the Avalanche and the Blackhawks. But before we get to all that, follow the show on social media outlets, LOPN_Avalanche on Twitter, Locked On Avalanche on Instagram. Questions, comments, concerns, opinions, or if you just want to type wow over and over again, send that to lockedonavalanche@gmail.com. And follow the show's YouTube channel over on the YouTube. Search for Locked On Avalanche and subscribe to that channel. All right, so the Avs do win it in overtime, 4-3. Very, like you said before we went live, it's a very odd game. Very, like, Avs dominated the first. Chicago dominated the second. And in the third, it was back and forth. And I thought there was a very questionable call on Nathan MacKinnon. And then, so he got sent to the box. And then a minute into that penalty, who was it? Was it Comfort that had the delay game?
Yeah.
Pretty sure it was him. I can look it up. So that gave the Blackhawks a 5-on-3, and they're down 2-1 at that point in time. They score on both of them, and they get the lead. And then the Avs come back, tie it at 3, go to overtime, and you have the virtuoso and Cale Makar with the goal of the year nominee. I posted it to our host chat over on Twitter, and I just wrote, Cale Makar just had a goal of the year nominee, and, you know, as you were. And immediately, Jason from Locked On Ducks goes, "Oh, that was the second best goal of the year." Because, you know, they're going to hold on to that Zegras goal as long as possible. I get it. But this thing is right up there. So overall thoughts of the game, because it was very up and down for the Avs.
It's one of those that there were so many things that could have been called that weren't penalty-wise. And the penalties that were called were so questionable. The Avalanche looked pretty good in that first period, and for the Avalanche to get beat in the same way twice, shorthanded on a feed from Patty Kane to DeBrincat twice. Then you felt it turning, and then about that moment I was like, if this goes to overtime, this is going to be a problem. And this is one of those that the Avalanche win, yes, which is good. But I think Chicago also can take things away from this win because we're like the superior opponent. Chicago also can build off this, which I don't know how that plays into the future. But apparently they both listened to yesterday's show because Patty Kane and Marc-Andre Fleury looked great.
Yeah, Fleury looked very good.
Yeah.
Kane did, he did look good. He looked fresh. But you got kind of you had a fight early on between Landis. I don't remember who he fought. It wasn't Dach, which I thought was a little bit interesting. You know, this was all going back to the first game of the year when Landeskog sent Dach into the boards, and Landeskog got suspended for it. You knew they were going to come back after him, and they did. I didn't think Landeskog was the same after, and that was very early in the game. I didn't think. I mean, he didn't have a horrible game, but he was not his normal active self.
Mm-hmm.
He just looked a little unsure with the puck. I don't know. I was not. I mean, it's not like you stopped putting him out there or anything like that. But at one point in the game, I was thinking maybe drop him down to the second line.
Yeah.
Maybe drop him down to the second line, bring Kadri up or something, and let him go down to the second line. I just didn't seem right to me, and I don't know because he was bleeding after the fight.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of a cheap. I don't want to say a cheap shot, but I don't remember who he was fighting again. But he kind of like had him by the ear hole on his helmet.
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't know if something, he was uncomfortable after that fight or whatnot. But you got that out of the way. They took a 2-0 lead in the first. Nazem Kadri got his 40th point of the season. He just continues to roll.
Yeah. He's the offensive Devin Taves.
Yeah, I think that's a good analogy. Yep. And then I thought this was Nathan MacKinnon's one of his better games of the year.
Yeah.
I know he didn't score obviously a goal and he only had 1 assist, but 2 rang off the post.
Yeah.
He was everywhere. He's calm, cool, and collected with the puck while being deceptively fast. Obviously, people that know they know that he's fast. So I think players and opponents are now respecting that, and he's using that to his advantage right now. He did a very good job of facilitating and looking for opening lanes. I loved how Nathan MacKinnon played.
Yeah, Nathan MacKinnon is like that hybrid of the passing MacKinnon and shooting MacKinnon. Like you're getting both in this game, and all of it worked and looked good. And another player that stood out to me that I feel like we're on the verge of like some kind of breakout for the season, Sam Girard looked really good tonight. And once he has that confidence back where he's doing that skating all the way around the offensive zone, once he has that, big things are on the way. So who knows what that game against Winnipeg is going to look like for Sam Girard, but he's starting to get his groove back.
Yeah. And it was, the first period was all Avs. You felt like really good. A 2-0 lead, the way that you played, should have had at least 1 more, maybe 2 more, but that's Marc-Andre Fleury keeping his team in the game. And then, they came out and Chicago did what a team who's down and goes into the locker room, makes some adjustments, did. They played a much better second period. You don't expect any team to just roll over and die, and they didn't. And they fought back. They didn't, they only got the 1 goal from Taves, but they were everywhere. I think I want to see what the shots on goal in the second was 17-7 in favor of Chicago, and it showed.
Yeah.
It showed everywhere on the ice. I think the Avs, I don't want to say the Avs took their foot off the brake or anything. I just think the Blackhawks had a wake-up call. And they were like, that was an awful period. We simply need to play better. And they did. They fought back in the second, but I still liked how the Avalanche played. I think, they had to have that grinding type of period. And I thought that it showed the Avs can play different styles if they need to. They can play that speed and puck possession game. Or if the other team is on their forecheck and they're making it tough for you, to grind it out and grind through it and find an opportunity. An opportunity is the way that this Avalanche team plays, an opportunity is going to present itself eventually, even if it's tough to come by. And Chicago made it tough to come by. But I thought they played as good of a second period as they could, considering Chicago was really on their game.
Yeah, and it's one of those, like, it was ebb and flows, like how the Avalanche responded. Like in that first period, I think we were up 13-5 on shots. And then
Something like that, yeah.
And you just rattled off like it was 17-5 Chicago. And then end of the game, 33-31 Avalanche went on shots. So it evens out towards the end, and it also reflects on the score sheet. And ironically enough, one of those goals that, those shots was Kurt McDermott. But
yeah, man. You're getting like Connor McDavid there.
I know he was trying, and to see the Avs like not give up when you could visibly see the frustration in how they were going for body before puck when they were hitting the boards and the checks. how they can overcome the frustration and letting a lead go when you're up by 2 and still pull this out in overtime. A lot of good things coming out of this game.
Yeah. A lot more to get to also. So, but first we're going to hear from Built Bar and builtbar.com. It is the new year. So that means New Year's resolutions, and we're already on January 5th. Hopefully yours is still intact. If your resolution centered around getting yourself fit, getting active, eating healthier, make sure you include Built Bar in that plan. Built Bar is the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar, maybe even better than a candy bar. It makes it easy to stick to your New Year's resolution because it tastes so good, you'll want to eat them, unlike other protein bars which taste chalky or waxy or taste like what?
A chemical spill.
A chemical spill. You want to eat healthy, but it just gets so boring by week 3. You might be thinking, this is just not worth it. I need some chocolate. Well, good thing, because Built Bars are covered in 100% real chocolate. Go to builtbar.com or built.com and use the promo code LOCKED15 and you'll get 15% off of your order. Once again, that promo code is LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com or builtbar.com. All right. Another Avalanche goal that we got to talk about is the Kadri. I do want to talk about something Nazem Kadri did, which I was very impressed. I was watching for it the rest of the game. But the Alex Newhook goal.
Yes.
That was in the first period. That was the second goal for the Avs. He just collected the puck off to the side of Fleury and kind of was skating towards Fleury. And he's looking to facilitate. And nope, he just had all this time and space, and he continued to have time and space. And the way that his teammates were positioned, exactly what he did.
Yeah, and he went backhand, forehand, backhand. In the no-no zone. You don't, if this was the 90s and you did a move like that in that zone, they would check you out of your skates. You don't do it. And he tried it again late in the second. That same move in the same position wasn't successful. But to see him have that confidence instead of get into a high-stress situation and then pass out of it, to take it and go backhand, forehand, backhand, a goal off a backhand, that's very hard to do. So seeing Newhook come to that level was incredible.
Yeah, it was pretty. And because that happened in the first, maybe about 3/4 of the way through the first, that just gave him confidence because he was flying. He was everywhere last night. This was one of his better games. Did he have an assist on the night? Let me see. Nope, just had the goal. But man, he was collecting pucks and just zipping around with it. I really liked his game, and I think it all goes back to that goal. To have a backhanded shot, and I think the fact it was on Marc-Andre Fleury for a young kid to score on a Hall of Fame goalie, you're going to be flying the rest of the game. You know what I mean?
And you're getting confidence, like we mentioned Sam Girard earlier. And you're getting Alex Newhook being confident, McDermott confident enough to take a shot in a night that Landeskog and Mikko kind of disappear for a little bit. But you're seeing
Mikko played a good game. I think he didn't have anything to show for it on the stat sheet, but he was there. So many times, behind the goal, keeping puck in the puck in the zone, keeping possession of the puck down low. That was, I think he kind of told himself all right, this is going to be my game tonight. I'm having trouble finding shooting lanes. I don't even know how many did he even have a shot on goal. Yeah, he had 3 shots on goal. I couldn't even tell you when they were.
Yeah,
I don't remember which ones they were, but I think he kind of just figured, all right, I have to, kind of like what Nathan McKinnon is doing. He's I got to play a different style right now. I think that at least for that game, Mikko Rantanen was I got to do things a different way. And that's just keeping offensive possessions. And he was doing it spectacularly.
And there was so much of that game that was utilizing every inch of the 200-foot ice surface. It was from one end to the other, and it was a puck battle for a lot of it. And it was just that physical play. And to see that, like, the confidence out of these players that we haven't talked about a lot this year, like Sam Girard and like Newhook, he's had his goals here and there, but then he'll disappear. But seeing confidence stepping up into that role when others are taking a step back, that's the stuff we want to see. And we haven't really seen all year. It's one of those, if the top line's not performing, then maybe this line, then maybe this line. You're having different individuals on every line stepping up and taking charge. And that spoke volumes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mentioned Kadri, and the one thing that I was watching, he got hit by Dach in the corner, and Dach's stick kind of came up. I mean, it wasn't really intentional, and Dach's a big guy, but his stick got in the face of Kadri. Kadri was looking at the ref like, you gonna do anything about that? Nothing was called. Kadri had some words for the ref after, but I'm like, is he going to retaliate? Let's watch Nazem Kadri here, and he did not.
Nope.
So I'm looking at that and thinking like, okay, this is a good Nazem Kadri. He understands his importance to this team, and he also understands if he does something stupid, he's out for a very long time. I think 3-4 years ago, we might be talking about Nazem Kadri finding a suspension because someone hit him and got away with it, and he doesn't normally stand for that. And I was watching him. I'm like, all right, let's see how he responds to this. He just went back and played his game. He let his voice be heard, and then after that, it seemed like it was forgotten. I'm just going to get back to my game.
I think, as personally the biggest Nazem Kadri fan, I'm about to change my name to Nazem Von Doom.
Yep.
We'll have to see next time we play St. Louis. That is the known problem for Nas. St. Louis, they go after him. He's got history there. That's what happened in the playoffs, and they know it.
They've already retaliated on it. Like if they're gonna go after him again, then this is on St. Louis.
Yeah.
Then Kadri can do whatever he wants because put this thing to bed now. You know what I mean?
If he can get through this game with the same discipline he had tonight, I think we're okay.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those, he's crossing off these little benchmark games that that there's problems. Yeah. And if he can get through them unscathed, you're like, okay, now on to the next one. And St. Louis is the next one. I loved watching that because at that moment, I almost messaged you like, hey, my boy's doing good things. But
yeah. And, outside of that, in the third was an entertaining period because the Avs got down. They blew the 2-0 lead on those two penalties that, again, going back to the McKinnon one, that I thought that was a horrible call.
Yeah.
And they called interference on that. I've seen bad interference calls. That was a light one, if you ask me. I thought that was horrible.
He got cross-checked in the back without a call early in the first period.
Exactly. And then, if you're watching the game and you hear the Blackhawk fans going crazy because DeBrincat is bleeding from his mouth, but it was not an errant stick that got him in the mouth. So they actually got that one right. I'm surprised they got right. Like that was not a penalty for a high stick. I want to talk about some issues that I think the Avalanche still had in this game. And we talk about one of them kind of in a glowing manner a lot based on one guy, but overall it's a problem right now. But we'll talk about that in a second. We're going to hear from Bet Online. Bet Online has you covered this holiday season and even beyond the holiday season, obviously, with more prop bets, odds, and lines than ever before as the football season continues its march towards the playoffs. I think just one more week to go, right?
You betcha.
Yeah. So Bet Online remains your number one spot for all the sports action this season. And even the College Bowl that we have our championship game. When is that? That's next week?
I think so.
I don't know. You don't care because it's Alabama. So yeah. Head over to the website or use your mobile device to sign up, and you will receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use the promo code LOCKEDON to receive your bonus from basketball, football, the NHL, boxing, and UFC right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available. for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports, and it's where the game starts. That's betonline.ag. So, yeah, just because the Avs won, we don't want to just focus on all of the good things, and there were good things, but when you're up 2-0 and you blow that lead, there are bad things. The Avs, we love to tout Logan O'Connor on the penalty kill because it seems like every game he has an opportunity. I think Darren Helm had an opportunity tonight on when the Avs were shorthanded. But the penalty kill as a whole has got to improve for the Avalanche. They do not look good on the penalty kill, and they gave up those 2 to the Blackhawks to give the Blackhawks the lead. And the Hawks were 2 out of 3, I believe. Yeah, 2 out of 3 on the power play for them. Avs can't be this bad on the penalty kill going forward. That's the one glaring issue that they have to shore up somehow.
And what's so bad is Chicago's penalty kill literally just stands there and does nothing. And they're so much better than what we're doing.
I know.
So that it is a huge problem. And it stood out to me also something about the lines for power play and penalty kill tonight were weird. I don't know if they were trying something new, but there were a couple. There was a couple times I think it was LOC, Comfer, and they were just weird on penalty kills.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember what the lines were. I was just more or less just hoping and praying that they weren't going to score. And it's never, the Avs just let teams set up. It's amazing how they are, they don't pressure teams in the neutral zone.
No,
it's like they are okay with letting teams get in and set up, and then let's just run our diamond or whatever, and just hope we don't give up a goal. There's very little pressure from the Avs, and they just wait on that bad pass from the team that's on the power play, and then they'll take advantage of it. They're good at doing that, but you can't rely on that.
Yeah,
because this is a professional team you're going up against. A lot more often than not, it's not going to happen if you're not pressuring the puck. So just upset something in the neutral zone, and they just don't do that.
And like the reason I bring up like the line combos for the PK is if you notice, like when they roll out the PK with more line mates, it's more active. When they do this little hodgepodge, nobody trusts anybody, and they don't really know how they work. So it's a lot of isolation, and you'll get a lot of, which we get burned on a lot, overcommitting to a single, like you think you have a play where you could push it out and possibly go shorthanded, which I think we're falling in love with a little bit, and we need to stop that. If we can just get more cohesion on how we're matching up and stop overplaying sometimes, I think we'll do a lot better, but we're getting in our own way a lot on the penalty kill.
Yeah. But even so, when the Avs went down, they were down 3-2. I think there was still 16, 17 minutes left. So I'm sitting there watching. I'm like, there's a ton of time. And the way that they're playing, I'm happy with how they're playing overall. This thing's far from over. And getting down, they just opened it up. And that forced them to just play. It was weird. It was like they were playing more of a loose style. But with a lot more purpose. Obviously, you're playing with purpose. You're down. You have to come, get back into the game. But they seem like they just got back to what makes them good, and where they kind of maybe got away from that a little bit, coupled with Chicago really starting to play better. But the Avs just started to impose their will, and you want to see that more. The game just really opened up on both ends after that. The Hawks took a 3-2 lead.
And when the Avs were up 2-0, you could watch the screws be loosened, and everybody kind of, like, the passes were terrible. There were a lot of bad passes that we talked about at the beginning of the year. Then when they got down, they played with this new energy, and you could tell everything was tightened up, and like the passes were crisp again. And then they started really connecting there. And that's the best way to see how the team is feeling as a whole, is how those
Right.
passes are hitting in the neutral zone.
Yeah.
Because that's been our big problem that I've seen. I think this game tonight was the most play in the neutral zone I've seen in a hockey game in a couple of years. There was a lot of time in the neutral zone.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I mean, the Avs tied it, and when you go into overtime and it's Colorado Avalanche, it's almost like injuries. You just expect not good things to happen. But they controlled most of the possessions in overtime. What's his name? Kane. I think it was Kane. Got a puck right off of he kind of had a bad angle, and maybe he was kind of going for a little bit of a bank shot off of Kemper's backside. But it went off the post. The Hawks have 10 overtime. This was their 11th overtime game this year.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. Compared to the Avs, this was their third, or was this their fourth?
This is their fourth. They're 2-2.
Fourth. Yeah. So, but you know who I also didn't think had a good game was Burakovsky.
Yeah.
Struggled again. And this is what we talk about with him. He is so streaky. He had a horrible turnover in the defensive zone that it didn't lead to even a shot for Chicago. Thank God it didn't lead to anything worse than what, but he just didn't have it tonight. And this is what you have to deal with Burakovsky.
And I feel like you can put Berkey, Jost, and JT in the same category. They have one good game a month, never all on the same night. And it's just kind of average the rest. And this was not Berkey's night. And it didn't feel good.
It's disappointing because, like, man, when he is on, man, he is a dangerous player. Bringing up Money Puck here right now. I just want to see maybe some of his deeper stats, but
it was a lot of bad positioning, bad just shot selection, just a lot of things were just.
I mean, he didn't register a shot on goal.
Yeah, it was
so. He had an assist miraculously. So, he 0 expected goals. Let me see what is.
Didn't he rifle one like way far right of Fleury?
Probably.
Yeah,
because that's his MO most of the time is firing one when he has a very good look, nowhere near the net.
It's you hate to see those kind of nights, especially on him, but thankfully everybody else stepped up. And going to your overtime point, a good feeling that you had was that last face-off the Avalanche had where they received the face-off and ESPN didn't even know if it was a good face-off because the clock didn't even move because they came off of it so slow, borderline walking. And when you see them not rushing through their 3-on-3, you know that they're learning what they're doing wrong. And when I think it was Nate, I can't remember who was on that line with him, and they just basically walked it out of the zone, and Chicago gave them no pressure. I started feeling really good about what was to happen. Little did I know Cale was going to do that. So,
man, I'm telling you, if you're listening to this and for some reason you haven't gone to see that move by Cale Makar, we're wrapping up right now. If you've made it this long in the show and you haven't watched it yet, just hang out for another minute and then go run and watch that Cale Makar clip because, man, that is a thing of beauty, and that's just and you always say, like, well, he's got that offensive ability, but his defensive abilities are just as good as his offense, and that's what makes him so good. He's not just an offensive minded guy; he can play defense, and if he's sizing you up, he is going to lay you out, and he will not stop to do that. So he is an all around defenseman in every sense of the word. It's great.
Yeah. And when you watch that clip, watch the whole thing when he's skating, and you can see in his eyes when he's like, "It's mine."
I know.
Stops and flips.
He had that set up when he was behind the net.
Yeah.
He knew exactly what he was going to do. So one other thing to watch quickly, Jack Johnson did not finish the game. I don't even think he came out for the third. He did something late in the second. They were talking about it on ESPN. And Emily Kaplan was saying like she was told he should come back out for the third, and then he never did. And she updated the injury report and said he's not coming back. So definitely something to watch there. See how serious it is. Maybe just tweak something. And but this is Avalanche world. It's probably gonna be out 3 to 4 weeks. So maybe Taxi Squad is in service. So we'll. Well, didn't we say like why is the Taxi Squad not sponsored by like Uber or something like that?
That would make so much sense.
Get on
Lyft, the Lyft
yeah.
Taxi Squad.
Yeah. Or the Locked On Taxi Squad. Come on, Locked On, get on that.
Right, let's do it.
All right. That's going to wrap it up for today, everybody. Overall, the Avs got 2 more points. So that's what you want, especially against a division rival.
Mm-hmm.
Good game. Good game. Highs and lows for the Avs. When you come out on top, just on the road, no less.
Yeah.
Just makes it sweeter. So
road W's, baby.
That's right. That will wrap it up for today, everybody. Thank you for making this your first listen of the day. Head on over to Locked On NHL. Get caught up on everything going around the NHL right now. And that's going to wrap it up. So he is Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. I am Chris Maselli. And this is the Locked On Avalanche podcast. We'll see you guys tomorrow.